I'm Rob Licuria, Senior Editor at Gold Derby, and I'm here with Ken Barefield, Stunt Coordinator on the Netflix blockbuster phenomenon, Cobra Kai. Ken, let's just get straight to the point. Episodes 9 and 10 of season 4 were out of control, unbelievable. I was on the edge of my seat, clapping and cheering. I had so much fun with it, and I can't imagine there'd be more stunt work in a single half hour than that finale. So I just want to get straight to the point. That scene between the two girls at the end blew my mind. Talk me through how much you enjoyed coordinating that fight.
It's enjoy is the great word for it, because it was, what I blow people's mind when I tell them this. We only had like 2 weeks to shoot, from like rehearsal to finish shooting the entire All Valley. And
What?
that's everything. That's lead ups, that's them coming in. And it, if you've been on a film set before, we only shoot a scene or two a day. And when you're talking 2 episodes in 2 weeks with that amount of fights and choreography, I mean, it started day 1 of season 4. Literally with John Josh and Hayden, they bring me into their office and be like, "Hey, this is what we're thinking for the All Valley tournament." And in my head, I'm like, "Can we even do that?" Because I've been on the show since season 1. I'm the Sensei Kreese stunt double as well. So it's like I've kind of seen from season 1 YouTube days to season 5 Netflix days, and it's just like where it's gone. It's what we've been shooting for since day 1, but it's just incredible. And then when you talk about All Valley tournament, all the kids who had fights, they would, they'd be in like their normal wardrobe of like scenes that we'd be shooting midway through the season, and they would come to the dojo in their clothes, shooting scenes, and be like, "Hey, we want to start doing choreo for the All Valley tournament." So it's like it was a never ending from day 1 to the last day of shooting. All Valley was like burned into our brain. And so just to be there and see, Peyton and Mary at the end of it, because that was the last thing we shot, was their fight.
Okay.
Yeah, so we shot it all in sequential, and like their fight was the last thing we shot. And just kind of sitting back and watching Peyton and Mary and just being like, man, where we have come from the beginning of the season, let alone from season 1, season 2, season 3 to now this. Because what we also had to do in the All Valley tournament was, keep up with the times that we're in, but then also harken back to the soul of the first All Valley in Karate Kid 1, right? And so we had to make sure that we kept that while changing with the times. And I think we did a really good job of that, that goes with, even having Ralph and Billy there, that's a huge deal. Even though they didn't fight, they fought midway through season 4, but just having Ralph and Billy to go up to there and be like, "All right, so when you guys did it back in Karate 1, what's the feel? What's the vibe? What were you guys?" And they were on movie time, so they had 6-7 weeks to rehearse that one fight, so they knew it. So they knew it in their brain. Them watching Mary and Peyton do it, they were like, "How in the heck did you guys accomplish this in a week?"
Wow. I had no idea.
It's crazy. Yeah, it's nuts.
Um,
And with all my stunt team, with Don Lee, the fight coordinator, Selkie, who is the main Mary double, and then you have Olivia Brown, who is the Peyton double. I mean, they took those girls under their wing, and it was like every single day they were training, every single day, Monday through Sunday. Like,
Jeez.
That's what people don't understand. Is like when we shoot this 3.5 months of Cobra Kai, it's not just like, Monday through Friday we go in there. It's like 2 weeks of prep every day, karate in the dojo. They're getting their forms right. They're getting everything nice and technical. And then it's like all through the season, every day, whether we're filming or not, at least 2 hours of karate training a day, Monday through Sunday. That's no lie.
That is incredible. Not only does that sound so physically demanding, and how you'd all need to be super fit and looking after your bodies, but I would say mentally, emotionally exhausting. It goes into your DNA.
Yes.
What after months? I mean, you've just wrapped season 5, so season 4 was quite a while ago. But when production's over and done with, and you get to go home and have a bit of a break, how long does it take for you to shed Cobra Kai? Is it always there?
Never.
Really?
Because once we're done, then when we're done, then we start editing. And the beautiful thing of it is Netflix and the editors, they send us emails and show us clips of the fight scenes, and they let us have a say in the editing piece. And it's, we give them suggestions because, we do fights all the time as stunt coordinators. And so it's, they lean on us a little bit, but the editors that are there, they're fantastic because they've been there since season 1. So they kind of know the vein and they know the heart of the show. But once we wrap the show, then it goes into the editing bay. And then so every, I would say 2.5 weeks, I get thrown some fight scenes and I get to look at them and I get to be like, at 13 seconds, change to this angle that we shot. So it's like, while we're shooting, me and Don, we're always keeping track of what we shot for the edit to make sure that we're giving, the viewers what we saw when we came up with the fight. So it's, I'm not really done with it until I see it when it airs. You know what I mean? Because we're getting emails and we're just editing the whole way through until it airs.
That's fascinating. Yeah, I can imagine. You started off as a stunt performer on the show. You were Martin Coe's stunt double.
Yep.
Then you moved up to stunt coordinator for 4 and 5, taking over from Hero and Janelle, who moved on. And so they themselves have been nominated for Emmys 3 times in the stunt categories. Correct. So talk me through what's the most exciting aspect of that promotion for you. Like, you've really now moved up and you are the guy who is looking after such an integral part of such a successful show.
It's big shoes to fill, but was very blessed and fortunate enough to kind of be there since day one and kind of knowing how everything was shot 1 through 3. So I kind of knew the algorithm to it, if you will. But what I wanted to do coming in through season 4 and 5, and then ultimately 6, is I wanted to make sure that I brought in kind of fresh blood, kind of change it up, because the kids are getting older. The writing is getting a touch bit older. There's a little bit of I want to say the characters are evolving, and I've kind of gotten to see that from the ground floor. So when I took over and I talked to John, Josh, and Hayden, we all kind of knew that it was time to kind of raise the age range up a little bit. And then that also meant putting more heat on the actors in their training. So they've gotten 3.5 years of karate training. So now that needs to show on camera. That needs to, they're not just now starting, Sam's character, she's a lot better than she was when we first saw her. And that goes to Gianni's character. I wanted to make sure that, because I would say of all the characters, Gianni has the best kicks of all of the students. And that's something that we wanted to show. And that's something that we, so each character has a piece. Like Joe, it made the trailer for season 5, but it didn't make the show of him breaking through the cement blocks with his head. That is Joe coming to me and Dawn while we're shooting the All Valley tournament, like, hey, this is the one I want to do. And me and Dawn looking at him and evaluating him and going, yeah, we've seen what you've done from the past to now. We think you're ready for that. So it was just bringing in fresh blood to it, but also making sure that I took where we left off in season 3, and then making sure that that bar was raised for season 4, and then that bar raising again for season 5. So it's a lot more to it than just being like, hey, I'm the guy, let's do the same thing that we've been doing in the past, because that would have read on screen and then the viewers would have maybe been let down a little bit. I don't think so, because our viewers are literally some of the best in the world, because we got the ones from Karate Kid 1, 2, 3, and then they spilled over to here. So it's like, in a way, it's like a Star Wars cult, where it's like, you got to make sure you're doing it correctly, otherwise you're going to hear about it. Yeah.
In my line of work, I think Cobra Kai is up there with some of the MCU stuff and Star Wars. Yes. The level of fandom and the passion that we have for the show is so lovely, and I'm sure you all really appreciate that, because imagine working on a show and then no one cares. That would be horrifying.
Exactly. It's crazy. And it's like what we're getting now. When we were doing the Emmy stuff back in LA, I want to say about a month ago with Ralph and Billy, we were just doing some interviews. We were sitting there chit-chatting with Josh and Hayden about how cool is it that we're now getting a group of kids who watch Cobra Kai first. That's right. Then they're going back to watch Karate Kid. And it's it's cool to see them take that and then be like, well, we want to see where this came from. And then they go to see Ralph and Billy at that age, and they're just like, well, this is amazing. So then, it's kind of what a lot of people did that's what I did with Star Wars. I saw episodes, 1, 2, 3 before I saw 4, 5, 6, which, that's the way that it was shot, which is not, or, that's the way it's laid out in the timeline.
Yeah, chronologically.
Exactly. But the kids are doing that now, but they're doing it kind of in reverse. They're seeing Billy and Ralph in these positions. They're seeing Billy, down and out in season 1 and being like, well, how did he get there? And then they get to go back and see it all. And they're like, oh, that's amazing. So it's a great time to be a fan.
It really is. With stunt coordinators, I'm always wondering how agile you need to be. Not only are you performing, and not only are you worried about making sure that it looks good on screen, but what happens when things don't go according to plan? Because I imagine things must be planned to within an inch of their life. Yes. But surely things don't always go according to plan.
That's for sure. I mean, you have to make sure that, again, it goes with being the stunt coordinator. You have to be prepared for everything that you plan for, right? So you rehearse and you do, and you can rehearse 1,000 times and you have it all planned out. But then on the day, there may be just one move that, we're not really getting the way we want. So we have to change it on a dime. And, that could be, a round kick and we turn it into a spinning back kick, right? So it is a small change, but in the grand scheme of camera and director and writers and telling the story, you have to make sure that when you pivot, number one, safely, but then 2, you still have to be able to tell the story. So, because I don't like to just throw a punch just to throw a punch, and especially a show like Cobra Kai, it's very karate specific. So you have to make sure that if you have, let's say Miguel's character and he's throwing, a round kick, we have to make sure that, one, is it a Cobra Kai round kick that he's throwing, or is it an Eagle Fang round kick, which are 2, totally different ways to throw the kick. And so you have to make sure that you're honoring the same with like Mary. If Mary's throwing something, we have to make sure that it's Miyagi-Do, right? Because, before we saw her in the All Valley tournament, we didn't really see that Eagle Fang side of her, right? So we had to make, so there's a lot more to it than just like, I just change it to this, which on other shows that I've done in the past, like when I do an NCIS or an FBI International or something of those sorts, it's like, let just turn that punch into an elbow. Well, with Cobra Kai, there's 3 different dojos that we have to think of, and there's 3 different disciplines that this character has trained in. We have to make sure that we're doing it justice for the viewers, because as you know, if we throw a different, if we make, say Miyagi-Do do a Cobra Kai move, if it's not in the script saying that they're doing that, if we just do it just to do it, I would say half of our viewers are gonna be like, well, that's odd. That's very strange. And we have to be mindful of that as we're shooting it. We have to.
Yeah, you do. You really do. It has to be authentic and it has to be real. Otherwise, we're just going to be like, nah, that's wrong.
Authentic. That's the word. Authentic. It has to be authentic.
Authentic.
Yes.
What I'm curious about as well is sometimes like the actors who are not trained stunt professionals still have to be quite physical. Mm-hmm. And what work do you have to do with them to teach them or guide them on how to realistically like swerve and fall? In particular, I'm thinking about safety, like falling and recoiling is not as easy as it looks on screen. Sure.
No, I love this question because from Ralph to the new character, Dallas, from all the way through, everyone has their different way of wanting to do things. And, like with Jacob and Tanner, we got so lucky to have such incredible athletic actors as Jacob and Tanner, because they are doing, I would say, outside the big giant falls that they have to do, they're doing 90-95% of that themselves. And wow. I really give Jacob and Tanner credit because they are very, very, very athletically inclined, and they're able to do, which makes my job a lot, I wouldn't say easier, because the more they're doing, the more injury prone they can be. Right. But it makes my creative job a lot more interesting, because I get to have Jacob throw those big kicks. I get to have Tanner throw those big kicks, those big flash kicks and all that. That's Tanner doing all those flips in his in his weapons when he's doing his own stuff. His kata, that's him doing all that himself. And so it's amazing for me to see, because again, I saw Tanner from day one to right now. I've seen the progression of Jacob. I've seen the progression of Sholo. Sholo has like blown my mind from day one in season one to what he was doing to now he's out there throwing 540 kicks. He's throwing these roundhouse. Like, it's incredible to see that. And so I just have to, it goes back to when we bring them into the dojo, when we train with them, we'll have stunt days with them. We'll have 2 days a week to where we're giving them stunt training, stunt falls. This isn't like just kicking and punching. It's how do you fall down? How do you take a punch? How do you land safely? How do you have somebody throw you, do a judo throw to the floor and save yourself, hitting the mats down? Like, we give them intense stunt training 2 weeks out and then all the way through shooting so that they keep it sharp on them. And, you have to find that balance of, who I'm training with. Now, obviously with Ralph and Billy, we're not going to do that much labor intensive stunt falls with them. Their characters don't need it, yada, yada, yada. But with Tanner, with Mary, with Peyton, with Sholo, all the kids, they're in there and we're throwing them around like we would stunt people, because one, I trust them and I know they know their own bodies. I've seen them progress from where they came from to where they are now. And then I also look at it, these kids are in such formidable ages of their life, between that 15 and 23 age range. That's such a formidable, I find it an honor to be able to have this position with them and show them and see them go, oh, I don't know if I can do that. And then we do it with them and then they go, oh my God, I did it. And their confidence level goes up. And it's really fun to see that. So then when we get to shoot it on that day, and I'm like, Mary, you've done this before. Remember that? She goes, you're right. And then she does it safely. Awesome. And she's like, oh my God, I did it. I can't believe it. And watch it. And she's going back to monitor. She's showing everybody, yeah, we just trained this. We trained this. We trained this. So it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing to see. And it's such a family, like, with these kids. So when you see them fall to the ground, I want people to understand and know that they have done it a countless amount of times. And we're doing it in obviously everything's planned. So it's like, when we're falling down, that looks like asphalt. We have these 1.5 to 2 inch foam pieces that are painted like asphalt to save them. But when you see them fall, 9 times out of 10, that's Sholo. That's now, I'm not taking anything away from my stunt team, because you've seen plenty of times where my stunt team is just what we call yard selling. It's just selling their bodies and hitting the floor, and that's what they're paid to do. But when we get those unique opportunities to see Jacob hit the ground, or see Jacob throw a kick, or see Tanner throw something, that's them doing it. And it just shows their work ethic that they've had, not just this season, but from seasons past.
That's amazing. Not only are you creating something that looks so impressive, and you're also worried about safety, and you're guiding and mentoring younger actors who will take that training with the rest of their career. Sounds so rewarding. And then on top of all of that, Ken, you get nominated at awards. So you've been nominated, I think, now twice at the SAG Awards, once for Stranger Things in 2020 and once just this year. And your team was nominated against Squid Game and Falcon Winter Soldier, Loki, Mayor of Easttown. What's that like to be able to walk the red carpet with all the big celebrities and be recognized for your work? It's so nice that SAG-AFTRA recognize stunt performers as well, don't you think?
Yes, it's not said enough, because look, we're the stunt people, right? We have, our careers have been built on the guys before us, and we're in such a unique time to where we have social media now to kind of show what we did. Back in the day, they didn't have that. So they were this is what it was called, like the unknown stuntman, to where it's like, there's a different guy doing it than the actor, but no one knows his name.
It's hidden. So,
It's hidden. So it's incredible, for the Emmys and for SAG to recognize us and know that, hey, there's a spot for us in this world as well. And it's incredible to even be mentioned with, the MCU and Squid Games and all those stuff. But what my team has done, and what I'm super proud of my team and the actors, we don't have any special effects. We don't have any CGI. Whereas, and I'm not taking anything away from the Lokis and, the Captain America, Winter Soldier. Like, I'm not taking away from any of that, because I know what those guys do and it's incredible. But we don't clean up any of our fights with any of the with any of the CGI. What you see is what you see. And it's an incredible space to be in, that it's, you know, Loki, and I mean, the list goes on and on and on, to where it's like, and again, I'm not taking anything away from those shows at all.
It's true.
They're incredible, but we're practical. We are practical. And that's something that is, you know, unless you're on network television, the NCISs and all that stuff, they don't quite have the platform that I get to have on Netflix, being such a big giant show as Cobra Kai is. It's kind of it's a proud moment for us to be able to go, we're practical, versus all those other shows, we're practical, which is incredible. And it makes me incredibly proud of my stunt team and the actors.
Yeah. I'm look, if you don't mind me admitting, I'm a little jealous of your job. I think it sounds so awesome.
Hey, but open invitation whenever you want to come down to the States. If you ever can get over here, I'll bring you the set whenever you want.
Okay, good. I'll probably do my back out, but that's okay.
Well, you know our Robbie double, he's Australian.
Is he? Oh, there you go.
He's Australian.
He must be your best.
He's the best
worker.
He's the best.
He's the best. Ken, I wish I could talk to you all day. That was so fascinating. Thank you for your time, and congrats on a really strong season 4. I'm looking forward to season 5.
Hey, if you thought, I'll just say this, and this is what I was telling Josh and me. I can't believe we were able to up what we did in season 4, but just wait till season 5. That's all I'll say.